Multiplayer games are the bread and butter of the industry these days, offering players up plenty of opportunity to dive into digital worlds with their friends. The PS5 is home to many of said experiences, from competitive shooters to sprawling RPGs, and today we're breaking down 10 of the best. So, hello everyone, welcome back to Push Square. My name is Aiden, and here are the best PS5 multiplayer games you can play right now. We're kicking things off with a classic at this point. GTA Online is the multiplayer offering that simply refuses to die. Over 10 years and 2 generations later, PlayStation players still can't get enough of GTA 5's Los Santos. And that is down to Rockstar's continued commitment to this game, with update after update arriving years after the game's initial launch. Whether you're there to carve out a space for yourself in a digital criminal empire, take part in wacky races, or just vibe and drive around the city with mates, there's an endless supply of things to do in GTA Online. Even with the PS5 version, it is admittedly showing its age a little these days, but nostalgia or otherwise, it's hard to deny one of the greatest to ever do it. Like GTA Online, Destiny 2 is getting on a bit these days, but that doesn't stop it from being one of the best first-person shooters out there. With sublime combat, excellent looking guns and armour, and a plethora of activities to work through, Destiny 2 is a lot of fun played solo, but it's even better when you squad up with some fellow Guardians. There is something exciting about taking to the tower and prepping your various bounties before heading out to the great expanse of space with a fire team. Destiny 2 is a big grindy game, but the grind is totally worth it once you start to get into those more difficult activities. Those activities force you to really study and maximise the efficiency and deadliness of your Guardian's builds. Once you get that synergy between the mechanics, the builds, and your team, there is nothing quite like it. If you're in the market for a deeply rewarding co-op experience, then you can't go wrong with the Monster Hunter series. The Monster Hunter World very nearly made it onto this list, but Monster Hunter Rise in particular makes joining up with friends easier than ever, letting you battle against beasts of all shapes and sizes with up to 3 other players, so it gets a spot. No one does action combat quite like Capcom, and Rise has some of the best brawling that you'll find on PS5. Each of the game's 14 weapon types offer incredible gameplay depth, and there's nothing quite like mastering your craft as allies fight tooth and nail by your side. Battlefield 2042 is one of those games that you would never expect to be in a list like this a couple of years ago when it launched. But credit where credit's due, DICE and EA stuck with this futuristic shooter to iron out the kinks, add some killer new content and weapons, and ultimately ended up with a new age Battlefield that can be as slick, chaotic, and expansive as you remember the franchise to be. I have sunk a lot of hours into 2042 since its launch, and whereas shooters like Call of Duty feel samey after a few games, Battlefield 2042 has that sauce, allowing you to get into some nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat level gameplay, made all the better with a full squad. With a rotation of limited time modes and seasons, there's always some fun reason to check the game out again. One of the great shooters that actually managed to master the Battle Royale format, Apex Legends is a truly phenomenal multiplayer shooter that forces you to perfect your playstyle through its various characters and weapons. What I love about Apex Legends is, like Battlefield, how dynamic each match can be. It isn't just as simple as aiming and shooting. A higher time to kill means you must rely on movement and your character's abilities to either take out your opponent or wiggle your way out of a sticky situation. Team dynamics change so much too depending on which characters you are playing, and this is really one where you should be playing your role rather than just going for kills. That's no way to get into the final ring here. I've sunk hundreds of hours into this game, and truly, it never gets boring. Street Fighter 6 is one of the newer games on this list, and definitely a bit of a different pick from our previous entries, but this brilliant fighter game made sure to include a pretty meaty multiplayer offering for those looking for it. With the online nostalgia-filled arcade mode, you can even try your hand at elements of previous iterations of the Street Fighter franchise, and do it all with an avatar designed in an in-depth character creator. What's more stunning is the sublime rollback netcode, which means fights with other players online are attuned and completely devoid of any lag. Street Fighter 6 is actually packed full of plenty of little activities, almost too much at times, but if you're looking for an incredible fighter to sink yourself into, then this is one of the best. Baldur's Gate 3 may initially shock many of you to be included in a multiplayer list like this, but hear me out. This expansive and impressive RPG can be played entirely in solo, but it can also be played with a full party of 3 other players. Now, with this shifting and evolving narrative based on your very own decisions throughout the campaign, this becomes all the more interesting when you throw other players into the mix. Players can backstab each other, venture off on their own, and have aspects of their story impact elements of yours. And generally, with the amount of choice available in Baldur's Gate 3, it can just be a real laugh to wreak fantasy chaos with friends. In my experience, Diablo 4 is one of the more casual multiplayer experiences out there, but that also kinda makes it one of the best. Of course, the game has its more intense elements as you creep into the late game, but it's also home to a brilliantly dark story set in a grim and interesting world which you can explore with a party of friends. There are dungeons galore in this game, and it has one of the best upticks in leveling that I've ever experienced, which makes it super satisfying to fly up the ranks. There's PvE, PvP, full season passes to work through, and multiple character classes, meaning that it's a lot of fun to start a new character and try out new builds. The Finals was a surprising late addition to the 2023 roster of games, and my god, what a game it is. The Finals is a PvP shooter where teams of 3 must defend and bank boxes of money which can be stolen by 2 other teams. First to bank 20k wins the match, but the game does have a trick up its sleeve with a simple yet dynamic class system and some of the most impressive destruction available right now on PlayStation 5. We're admittedly still in the early days of this shooter as of recording, but the Finals does feel like a shot of adrenaline for the competitive FPS genre, with some super fun game modes, fast and addictive gameplay, and it even has a battle pass with cosmetics you may actually want to wear. Overall, it's pretty cool. There was only really one that it could be. Fortnite is the indisputable champion of multiplayer experiences. This battle royale has gone from strength to strength over the years with various events, one pop culture collaboration after the other, and it's even started to branch out as a platform with Fortnite Festival and Rocket Racing. Fortnite though is just an all-round good time with a sweaty build mode if that's your thing, and a slightly more even playing field in no build mode. There's a playfulness in Fortnite that is missing in a lot of multiplayer games, meaning it can be just as much as a laugh with friends as it can be an intense multiplayer offering as you creep even closer to that final circle. And those are the 10 best multiplayer games available right now on PS5. But of course, let me know your personal favourites down in the comments below and the ones you felt that should have been in this list. Anyway, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more PlayStation video content, and as always, I've been Aiden, and this has been Push Square.